This is yet another MBA*15, a podcast featuring conversations with the greatest of all time MBA alumni from the Naveen Jindal School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. We're here to celebrate the outcomes of graduate management education and to identify remarkable examples of how the MBA program here at the Jindal School has transformed the lives of our alumni. Now, here's Dr. Monica Powell, Senior Associate Dean and Graduate Dean at the Jindal School. Take it away, Monica.
Well, hello there. I'm Monica Powell. I'm the Senior Associate Dean and Graduate Dean here at the Jindal School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. We are so excited to have Anuja More with us. Anuja is one of our exceptional MBA GOATs, greatest of all time. Graduated 4 years ago. Anuja is now working for a company called Juniper Networks, happens to be a company she happened to do an internship with while she was a student. And Anuja, welcome to the podcast. And man, I've got a straight out of the gate question for you. So you're one of those highly technical, analytical undergraduate students who decided to come to the Jindal School to get an MBA and got an MS at the same time. So how in a market where you work now, how is that an advantage for you?
Well, it's funny that you say it's been a long time because I still feel it was like yesterday when I graduated. And yeah, I mean, I just bumped into somebody whom I shared a course with, especially in the master's degree recently, and I just realized it's been 4 years. I mean, 4 great years. Lots of learning, lots of things that I could take from both my MBA as well as my master's degrees and applying it every day of my job. So I think, well, there's kind of various reasons why one decides to pursue any higher educational degree, right? It's either kind of like moving up in your chosen field or changing paths completely. I had a very technical engineering background previous to pursuing MBA. So I did my undergrad in computer engineering. I kind of worked for 3 years as a software developer. And I was kind of in that stage of my career where I wanted to explore new ways of thinking or discovering how to make the contribution I always wanted to. And that's the reason why essentially I decided to pursue an MBA degree, in the sense where it gave me an opportunity to reinvent my career focus, like be at the intersection of technology with business as well as product innovation. And what I do day to day as a part of my job with Juniper Networks here is that I'm a product manager for the telemetry and analytics portfolio of products. And that it essentially puts me at the very intersection of technology, business, and product innovation. And to be able to kind of be at that in a role where you need to have the core understanding of the technology as well as the concepts within analytics, as well as being able to drive business for the technology products, wherein you're not only just deciding what products should the company be developing, but at the same time, how do you take some of those products to the market? How do you price them? How do you enable your sales organizations to be able to take those products to the market? So I think the most value that I got out of the higher education, especially at UTD, where it gives you the opportunity to pursue both the business as well as the technical degrees within the period of 2 years, I think was highly valuable. And all the concepts, whether it's both quantitative as well as soft skills, really enabled me to position myself very well in the industry to do what I'm able to do now.
So that's a really interesting intersection to be working in. Product development, innovation, strategy, analytics, all kind of rolled into what sounds like a really high-powered job. I'm curious, given that you're in San Francisco, are there a lot of people that are in roles like you that also have an MBA?
Well, in product management, I would say there are people from different backgrounds that could transition you from whatever role you are to being a product manager. So most of the folks that I work with on my team or the product management team do have a management background, whether it's in a bachelor's or a master's degree format, or they have experience leading products. They might have come from an entrepreneur background. Being in a technology company, obviously most of my peers have a technology background or per se an engineering background. But I would say that a master's degree or an MBA definitely puts you at the edge of the business related items that you have to work on. And so I would say around most of my peers do have a management degree, but not everybody. Like most of them would come from a background with some sort of where they've managed products or some kind of ventures in their previous experience.
Anuja, that's really interesting. So I'm going to believe, because you're a product of our MBA program, that you feel that having the MBA has given you a distinct advantage, helping you to be on the edge of what you're doing. I was looking at your background, and I was reminded that you actually did an internship at Juniper as a student, and then you made a transition, I think, to Fujitsu before you then returned back to Juniper. So I'm a little bit curious as to how you made that transition and what brought you back to Juniper after an internship so many years prior.
That's a great question because I get a lot of that. Well, during my MBA, I did apply to a lot of internship positions. And this particular position that I did with Juniper Networks was partially in product management, but more on the product marketing side, where I was supposed to devise plans to take some of Juniper's products and devise like go-to-market strategies around it, being able to position the products effectively, perform like sales enablement or develop tools for sales enablement. And that kind of was my breakthrough into understanding product management and product marketing in a sense where I could really make an impact to the revenue for the company. When I started through the MBA journey at UT Dallas, although I had a few things in mind of what I want to pursue post MBA, but at the same time, I also was open-minded. And this is another like advice that I would like to kind of give the prospective students or the audience who are listening to this podcast is have a focus, but at the same time, keep an open mind. When I started with the MBA journey, I was kind of into a place where I was still trying to figure out what I would enjoy the most. I did think that management consulting was one area where I would really enjoy working with different companies. You get to work with different domains and apply some of your recommendations to really make an impact to the company.
Wow, that's really great.
Thank you so much. There was one particular course during the MBA that really exposed me to the concepts of product management and product marketing. I think it was one of the courses called as Technology and New Product Development that really focused on managing technology intensive products in industries and firms. And so product management was an area where the more I kind of got to know the concepts within product management, the more I was intrigued. And this internship gave me an opportunity to firsthand try some of that and apply the skills that I've learned from the courseware. I did really enjoy, but I was more curious to kind of further expand into the product management side of it, not so much on just focused on the marketing. At Fujitsu, I was I was hired as one of the MBA graduates. So what Fujitsu essentially had was a rotational program where they would go across B schools across the US and, handpick a few MBA grads that they would choose to put through a rotational program. And that was a great opportunity because it was a product management rotational program that we would have like a 6-month training. We went through a 6-month training where we they had us work through operations, they had us work through marketing, they had us work through finance. So we rotated through various business units within Fujitsu. And before we were allocated to a line of business. So that kind of really, had me apply all the skills that I had learned during the MBA and my master's degree to a real world industry. And Fujitsu was like a great experience through the product management side of things. It so recently happened that I got approached by Juniper again because they were looking for a product manager to lead the analytics piece and one of the newly acquired products that they had. And they approached me and I was very happy because I had enjoyed, during the internship period, I had really enjoyed working with the folks here in terms of the culture that I enjoyed. And so I had the opportunity to move from Dallas to California. And I think I've not looked back since then.
Wow, that's really a great story that talks about the trajectory of the MBA experience and then out into how you leveraged that into a place where you wanted to be and grow a career.
This episode is brought to you by the UT Dallas MBA program, top ranked nationally and in Texas. The UT Dallas MBA combines a robust core with 13 concentrations. You have an option to add a second master's degree, and your choices for that include 5 STEM-designated programs. The MBA program has full-time, part-time, online, and other formats. They give you flexibility to fit your MBA education into your busy schedule. The skills and training you will receive are what top employers are looking for. For more information, visit us online at jindal.utdallas.edu/MBA.
You really are the amazing example that we really want our incoming students to have, whether you were a full-time MBA student, but we also have flex MBA with fully employed people. We have an online MBA. We have all of these variations of doubles and duals. And so students can come in and so often, they arrive at the first day of class and they've got this one idea of where they're going to go and what they're going to do. And we try to tell them, let the experience guide you. And it sounds like from that product management class, you had that journey. You were open-minded and you said, I don't want to specifically define what my destination is. And then you let the experience help you find your destination. Do you happen to remember who the faculty member was that taught that product management class?
Oh, yes. It was Professor Rajiv Shah. I think he was one of the key professors who really kind of brought the real world industry experience. I mean, we learned things like not just like focusing on key industry and technology trends, but how do you link technology with the business strategies? We would, in the course where he really brought in real world examples of analyzing actual situations in organizations and how to kind of summarize the findings and recommendations in depth. And so I think it really kind of helped me gain exposure into this space and then try to kind of see if I love it, and I seem to happen to love it. And so that's something that I really appreciate of the UTD MBA experiences is the flexibility in courseware. I mean, there are more than, I think, 15 concentrations and a bunch of additional courses that you can take, not just from the business set of courses, but also from other IT and computers. And if you're more interested in strategy, if you're more interested in entrepreneurship or marketing, you can choose to design your degree according to your domain and the interest that you develop throughout the 2 years. So I think the course customization, the double degree options that you have, I think more than hundreds of electives that you can choose from, really helped me shape my degree to the way I wanted to and customize it the way I wanted to.
We are right in the process, Anuja, of recreating our MBA website. And I really love that phrase that, you come to UT Dallas and you can really have a designer customized MBA experience depending upon your own portfolio, where you want to go, and then what excites you by the experience here. And you were not just a great student and an individual who managed to capture 2 degrees in a short period of time and do it very well, but you were also highly engaged while you were in the program. If I remember correctly, you won a couple of case competitions. I think the AT&T Big Data competition.
AT&T.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like and really how it either solidified or helped you change the trajectory of where you were going, or what you took away from that? Because we tell students all the time that it's not just about the courses and the grades, it's about engaging and building a strong network. So how did that out-of-class engagement help you?
I think that is a great question, Monica, because I really want to, anybody who is looking to kind of pursue an MBA, I really want them to understand how much you gain out of the entire experience outside of, textbooks or classes. I think the key, there's so much that you get to experiment with. I mean, you obviously have your assignments and group projects and tests and so on and so forth. But outside of that, I think there is so much that you can participate in that really adds value to your overall experience. Speaking about case competitions, I think there are tons of opportunities during the entire span of 2 years of the MBA degree that you get to get an opportunity to actually work with a company, actually work with teams that are working on actionable projects within an organization. One such competition was the AT&T case competition that a few of the students within the cohort, we formed a team and we were competing against other teams that were working on a particular problem that AT&T was looking to resolve. We essentially got a topic that we were supposed to analyze and present to the executives at AT&T to kind of take their overall 360-degree 5G vision to market. And we were supposed to develop a project plan and present in front of the executives. I think beyond just the textbooks and the theory, I think it's about forming relationships. It's about exchanging ideas. It's about sharing your background and your culture. I think the biggest lesson that you learn is to be able to gain that confidence to make a decision with limited information. I think prior to business school, I had a lot of experience with analyzing situations or, weighing the pros and cons and ultimately making decisions. However, such opportunities such as like case studies and working together as a team takes those skills to the next level. It kind of teaches you how to take all of the data available, make calculated assumptions, weigh the potential outcomes and consequences, and then, how do you pivot with the results and learn like these decision-making skills. I think those are some of the key skills that you cannot get in a textbook setting, in a classroom setting. So I think these kind of opportunities, the case studies, the case competitions was one part of it, but throughout the MBA journey for 2 years, you get various opportunities to participate in live projects. I remember especially a course that we took under Professor Jeffrey Hicks. I think this was the one of the courses that I took under him. I think it was the organizational behavior, if I'm not mistaken. But in that particular course, you get a chance to kind of work with a team of students on a live customer problem that a company has. So you actually get to spend time at the company. Every week we used to visit the company, meet with the team there and work together on an end-to-end project. But at the end of the semester, at the end of the course, you would go and present this to the teams at the company as well as internally. And that's how you would be graded. So these kind of experiences really mold you. And that's what the real value of the UTD MBA experience is.
Wow, that's a terrific a terrific story, Anuja. Thank you for sharing that with us. We tell graduate students coming into the program all the time that this is one of their last opportunities to make a set of lifetime friends. I'm curious, you're 4 years out now. How often do you connect with all of those students that it was blood, sweat, and tears for 2 years, and a lot of stress, a lot of tough assignments, a lot of projects. But how much do you stay in touch with your friends?
Well, I think I would like to stay in touch more than what I am now. I think during a key value that I could derive from the UTDA MBA experience is that I was able to build a very powerful network of accomplished and inspiring colleagues, and they will continue to sustain me even long after after graduation. So I remember our batch was of some 55 students, and many of which came from various professional and personal backgrounds. So we had a few doctors, a few military veterans, accountants, and engineers. And from working with many of these people during group exercises, we did have a lot of type A characteristic people, but then you kind of realized how to work in a team effort. I've realized that we bring unique perspectives to the shared learning objectives, and it made the entire every group experience sort of exhilarating. So kind of emphasizing on what we were talking earlier, MBA is not just about taking classes and doing case studies. It's about forming relationships and exchanging those ideas. I'm in touch with a lot of people from our batch, mostly on social media. But I think since everybody's moved across the United States, some have moved back, but we still are in touch with each other. In fact, we have a group of UT Dallas Bay Area students, and I think that's a great alumni group. We also have a female organization, an informal organization that we have here of UTD alumni female students, and we decide to do meetups. Not very often since everybody's busy in their work, but we at least kind of plan to meet once every month here in California, in Bay Area, and kind of just discuss on career opportunities, where each one of us are in their life stages. We also discuss some personal stuff. So yes, I think the powerful network that I've built is definitely kind of helping. It's inspiring, and we continue to sustain that. Try to meet more often than we are able to. But I think with social media, it should not restrict you from staying connected, no matter where you are in the world.
That's absolutely true for your generation. My generation needs to get a little better at that, Anuja. I want to ask you a challenging question, because it's a question that those of us who manage, direct, and create strategy for graduate management education, it's a question that people are asking themselves all across the country and really throughout the world, because I'm sure you've seen the Wall Street Journal, you've seen Forbes, you've seen Poets and Quants website that showcases MBA programs, that really the MBA degree itself is a bit on, it's under skeptic demise, in the sense that, is there really a place for the MBA in today's marketplace? What do you think about that? Do you think that it's still relevant? Do you think it still matters?
I think I've read so many articles about whether or not MBA is worth it. And I think it's a fair question to ask, especially if you see the amount of investment that you need to do, not just on a personal, but also on the monetary aspects of things. It's an investment. It's definitely, you're putting in, if in case you're doing a full-time MBA, you're putting in 2 years of your life into a degree. Also, it's an MBA. Getting an MBA in the United States is expensive as well. So I think it's a fair question whether or not it's worth pursuing. The real value of it is, in a way, that it's an investment that you make in your own future. And I think that definitely is worth it. I mean, it grills you. Just the 2 years, I think I would say I struggled a bit, but it did pay off. I mean, it was like doing a 16-month crash course in business world, and concepts that I would later apply firsthand every day at my job, post MBA. So it teaches you much more than you think you will. dealing with difficult people, structuring big projects. I mean, managing expectations, learning how to communicate with different pieces of an organization. The MBA experience kind of braces you for everything that the countless kind of things that you would actually have to face in a real world scenario. So I think it's definitely an investment, and it definitely will pay off throughout your life.
Well, Anuja, I would absolutely say that you are an individual whom we are extraordinarily proud of. As I tell all alumni when they get ready to graduate, we're going to take full credit for all of your accomplishments for the rest of your life. And in the 4 short years that you have been out, you have done amazing things. And I think you're a great spokesperson for why getting an MBA still matters in a very complicated world. And we are thrilled that you would take time away from your product manager role there at Juniper to talk with us today and to share with those that will listen to this podcast about why all of this matters and why the return on investment can impact you the rest of your life. So thank you for being with us today, Anuja. We hope that you'll stay in touch with us for a long, long time and come back and visit the MBA program and cheer on those that come behind you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share this amazing experience that I had. I think those were the 2 best years of my life that if I had to relive again, I would definitely go back to the time that I spent at UT Dallas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I hope that you were inspired by the words you heard from one of our greatest of all time MBA GOATs. If you were inspired to think about getting an MBA degree, I hope that you'll be in touch with us. Give us a call, drop us an email, hop on our website, be in touch with us so that we can help you make a difference in your future. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of yet another MBA GOAT podcast. Join us online at MBAGoat.com to find episode notes, links, and more. Be sure to subscribe to yet another MBA GOAT podcast on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review. That will help spread the word about the podcast and the Jindal School's MBA programs. To learn more about the Jindal School's MBA programs, go to jindal.utdallas.edu/MBA.